for the meeting. Well, we need to pick someone to be the chair.
Yeah, you're gonna have to pick somebody to be the chair. Ray did pick up, the packets and he delivered Jack's to him. So I don't know if Ray's having trouble getting on. Usually Cinda helps him get on.
Do we have enough people to see?
Yes, if you appoint Jack the
Yep.
chair and you
Make
appoint Susan to
active.
act as a regular member, you have 4. You have to give Jim the option of saying he wants a full board or not.
Okay.
So Jim, you, just trying to make do with what we have here, but you have the option on your behalf of your.
Right, not full board.
Board. If you want, but we have 4, you can sit. So it's up to you.
Yeah, I'd like, I would ask that, you know, before final vote is taken, that you informally poll the board. That's something we can do.
Isn't the question either we proceed with 4 or do you want to wait for 5?
Right, I understand that. No, I'll go forward with 4.
Okay,
Yeah,
Okay.
but I would
What
ask
they do
that,
anyway, they.
Yeah.
They do go through the criteria. And then they pull the board for each criteria, but they don't make a decision until
Okay.
after they've gone through all the criteria.
okay, so that's right.
And then they make a vote based on the criteria, if they feel as a whole, met all the criteria, and then they vote
Okay.
to either grant the variance or not grant.
Okay, we provided reasoning.
Right,
That's
on the
why-
application.
I guess,
and
but I guess
just-
if the board isn't in favor, we'd probably withdraw our application prior to a final vote.
So if during the polling, it doesn't look like it's going your way.
Sorry, Susan.
If during the polling, it
Right.
doesn't look like it's going your way, then you withdraw before we vote.
Yeah, that's what we're getting at. Mhm.
You do that?
you know more about procedure than I do. I don't
I've
believe
never heard of that.
me either.
Neither I. Right.
And then I had one other thing I did want to disclose. I hope that this isn't going to be considered a conflict of interest, as I do own an ice cream shop. It's not in this town. It's in the other town, but I mean, I feel I can be impartial to the fact that it has nothing to do with business and that we're here to talk about dimensional things, things like that, but just so you
Yeah, no, I'm
you
aware
know
of that.
that, so,
Yeah,
okay. I just wanted to make that clear too, so.
I mean, you're good ice cream house.
So I'll make a motion to appoint Jack as the chair tonight for this meeting.
Second, no, I can't second them both.
I second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Right.
Anyone?
As duly appointed the chair pro tem, I will appoint Susan, who is an alternate, as a seated member for this evening's meeting. All right, first order of business. Minutes from July 5th, 2023. Susan, you were present at that meeting.
I was also, but I haven't had a chance to read them. I'm
Right, because I
And I'm
just
wondering-
them today.
wondering if we can approve them at the next meeting.
Want to make a motion to that effect?
I would make a motion that I would like to read them through because I know there was a problem with the video and I don't even remember what it was.
Second that motion to continue approval of the minutes of July 5th, 2023 till the next scheduled CBA meeting.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
I,
All right. We have this evening a request from Mr. George Soria Giacus seeking let's see, what is it? He's seeking to put a freezer on the property that he owns behind Ice Cream Delights. I have in my possession, I believe you all have a copy of the possession, that he has appointed Mr. James Spanos to act on his behalf. We have a notarized document to that effect. Mr. Spanos is present. All right, Mr. Spanos, may I call you James?
Call me Jim is fine.
All right, Jim. Jim, would you explain what Mr.
Sure,
Gene
yeah.
Docs, Mr. G is doing here?
So basically, he'd like to add an ice cream freezer to the back of the ice cream delights. And, you know, while doing, he said, geez, if I add 10 feet to the back of the building, it'll look much more neater and symmetrical. We're gonna do the roof line, so, it fits in, so you don't have this 10-foot block sticking out of the back of the building. And, apparently from the tax maps, it looks like it's within the rear setback. I went over there and measured, there are 2 parcels there. He owns the front parcel. He owns the rear parcel, which is parking, and he has some outside seating in the back corner. And then he owns the house, indirectly owns the house in the back, that's his wife's name. So it does appear that the ice cream freezer and the 10-foot addition would be in the back, would be within the rear setback. I went over and measured it. It appears, from the back of the ice cream stand to where the 2 lots meet, there's 32 feet. It appears that there's plenty of space back there, but based upon the tax maps, it does appear that the 10-foot addition is within the rear setback. So we'd like, to get a variance for that. Would also like to get a variance from requirement that we do a survey. It's gonna add 3,000 plus to the cost of an addition that's only gonna cost us 10,000. And does the 10 feet addition, is further from the rear setback than the existing pizza business. So there's no approach, really, there isn't any encroachment there. But if you look at the initial parcel and then the parcel was added later and paved, it does appear that there's plenty of room without going over, encroaching onto the back lot, which they own anyway. It's used for parking, so there's not gonna be any issue with fire protection. Use of the setbacks, that's a big thing. You have setbacks. Purpose setbacks, fire protection, but since it's not gonna be near any adjacent structures, we don't see an issue with fire protection.
Doesn't he also own the lot, Zapata? He's Zapata, doing business as Zapata as well.
The one across Franklin Street,
Right.
yeah,
So
John's
he
out
owns
as
that
well,
one.
so no issue there. Just like to do it, just for more efficient operation, to have an ice cream freezer and a little bit of dry storage.
So basically, it's a shed in the back.
Right.
He has his measurements
Oh.
here.
Are you saying this is like now versus future?
Right.
I have a question too on that, or on the building. I did see the same thing, but. A shed, I think of a shed as if this is a wall, if this is a roof. And you have posts here and here, and it's a shed roof that runs along. Now, you're talking about having full walls all the way around this shed. That go from the eaves right to the ground.
Right, I mean, think of it as a 10-foot addition.
It's a 10-foot addition
To the building,
is what it is, okay.
Yeah, that's how I characterize it.
All right, well, I just wanted to make sure, there are a couple places in my notes that it's referred to as a shed, and I'm sitting here going, okay.
So
A shed I've got in my yard freestanding, and then a shed, the roof, and so
Yep.
what's it gonna be? And then, what's the size of the freezer? I mean, you got a
Probably
10 by 24 addition,
Yeah, so the freezer is gonna be 10 by 10.
okay, so the rest of it is
Just
for,
dry storage.
okay, just.
We're not gonna do seats or anything like that.
Okay. All right, that was one of my questions, but that
Yeah.
takes care of those.
I mean, we think it would look better if we just did a 10-foot addition as opposed to just having a shed sticking out of the back of the building.
Right. Okay, because that's when I saw the whole roof line changing, I'm saying, this is a big,
Yeah. It's a lot of ice cream.
well, it's a big.
Yeah.
When you look at the whole structure of it, you're gonna either, I don't know if you're gonna take off the roof there, or you're just gonna go over it and just have all this dead space up.
That
in-
we haven't decided.
Yeah,
yet.
right, so it is rather big, but okay, that took care of my building questions, I've got other questions, but.
Mhm.
Keep going, Miles.
Okay, that's one, I'm now gonna go to the, I don't understand why we're doing the order of the three things tonight, but I understand it's suggested that we do them in that. I guess my feeling is I'm going to. I really would be a lot more helpful, I think, if he had a survey, seeing he owns all the property. And he could put the buildings exactly where they be, because when we get really tight and we go by these maps. I've seen them more than not be wrong. And when you're dealing in a place, we say we got a 15-foot setback, we're already 2 or 3 feet into the setback, we want to put a 10-foot addition onto it, which I have no problem with any of that. But now we're going, well, what if it's 2 feet off? Now we've put the building on the property line. Now, I just happened to be going by today when an 18-wheeler was trying to get to the pizza shop. And I'm going, and there was no cars in the lot. And he was kind of getting between Franklin and maneuvering in and out. And now you're gonna add an addition on there, which is gonna take up what I consider the whole right of way into the property. And he owns all the surrounding properties, which is great for him in that he can let his people park anywhere he wants to go. But I look further down the line, 10, 15 years from now, God bless him, he's left this earth, his heirs are here, and they say, well, let's sell the vacant lot first, because there's nothing there. Nobody can stop them from selling the vacant lot. Might be shooting themselves a little bit in the foot, but, you know, and I think the same amount of space that you're looking for could be picked up if you would put the addition on the east or the west side of the building, instead of putting it on the north side. That way you would not have to be in here for all these variances. And or, in my mind, thinking, why doesn't he just divide the lot straight up the back, you know, the parking lot, directly the big lot to the north of it? And that way he's designated enough parking, because we've already got one letter here tonight about parking on Franklin Street and all the problems just in, and in the summertime, because both of the businesses that are there are quick grab and go businesses, you know, you wait in line, you pick up pizza, you do this, it's a high traffic area. And this could wind up somewhere down the line where you wind up with 3 individual properties. Somebody puts something, another house on the back thing, a house for employee housing, very well needed. And now there's virtually no parking left to these other places. Not that the 10 feet by 24 takes up much parking away from the back either.
Well, there
But
aren't any parking spaces now where it's going.
I know, let's face it, there's not enough parking spaces, period, but I'm more wondered with putting the addition so close to the lot line, where even if you said, hey, we'd be getting into the setback on the Franklin Street side, I said, well, at least you're on the Franklin Street side, and that whole side is wide open. There's no real designated curb cuts into these properties from Franklin, because you know, you could drive anywhere you want into these lots. If things got really crowded and they said, wait a minute, let's put some curb cuts in here so that, hey, he gets in this way, he gets in that way. Now you're gonna have a real problem. You know, if he were to divide the back lot north right in half and just give himself a right of way for traffic to cross between the 2 back lots, this whole problem goes away.
Well, he's not at the stage where he wants to do that. I mean, you know, a few years down the road,
I know.
he might want to divide the 2 properties, or, you know. If he were to sell the back lot, you know, whatever they built there would be subject to site plan review, so we could address parking, et cetera, at that time.
But the site plan review would be for that lot,
Lot,
not for these 2 lots that aren't using it. I mean, that's what I'm trying to think
Which
of
two
here.
lots are you referring to, Lyle?
The front, I'm talking the business lots, the
With-
ice cream shop and the pizza shop.
Okay, so that's one lot,
No, that's two
That's two
lots,
lots.
those are two lots.
okay,
And the only entrance to this lot that I know of is the one that's cut off of 112, off of Main Street.
Yep.
The ice cream shop, you could argue there's a curb cut here in front. And then in the back, are there two curb cuts to that lot? I mean, there are right now,
There are right
have
now.
always been, I think you're in good shape there. But if you put a freezer right there. Now you've shot yourself in the foot too. And I think I just think there's other ways to do this. And I think
I
it could
think,
be
yeah.
done,
I disagree.
okay, all right,
I
well,
mean, if you put it on the Franklin Street side, you're gonna be more in the setbacks than you are now. And then if you put it on the west side, you know, we have seating there. And it would interfere with the efficient operation of the existing ice cream business.
well, I'm more worried with. You know, blocking the property in the back, so you can't get around it. And I think in the front, on the Main Street side, you've already got the right of way from the state is obviously into the land that he owns.
Hmm.
Yeah, so. I know there's a couple of parking spots there, but that's the tough one. Let's see. See if I had any other notes here. Yeah, and like I said, I go back to the thing that I don't think that, I think a survey is needed here. I think it's needed, so that's my stand on it. Okay, I'm done. Good.
If. So it's gonna come out 10 feet, how wide is the freezer? If it's gonna go the whole length, can't the freezer be turned? The width to go this way, instead of this way?
Turn which, I mean, square,
So that- Oh, it's a square.
yeah,
It's only 10 by 8 or 10 by 10?
10 by 8 or 10 by 10.
Yes, it fits in the addition, and then the rest of the addition line right there.
Yeah, I just thought if it was a rectangle, you could
Yeah.
just turn it.
I mean, we only propose you want to go like the building just sort of look neater.
Yeah.
So
Um,
I think your planner has a question.
My question is, when I talked to George, I told him that he's gonna need a survey for his land use permit. But I suggested that he ask for a waiver for getting a variance. He still has to have a survey for his land use permit.
Well, I mean, no, that's why we're here for survey waiver for land use permit.
Well, that's something you're gonna have to take up with the town meeting. When the time comes.
Yeah, I mean, our expectation was we were here for waiver of the survey requirement for land use permit.
No, I made it very clear to George that it was for this hearing.
Well,
He said he didn't wanna spend any money. And I
well,
said, you're gonna
you're
have
really
to spend
sandbagging
money.
a small business with unneeded costs, in my opinion. I mean,
Everybody else
These
has-
two little businesses are major businesses in town.
well,
They are not little businesses, they are major players. And I sit there and go, I don't think you can put that addition on for $10,000 or $15,000. If you can, that's great. $3,000 to me is a drop in the bucket. I'm sorry,
well, someone that doesn't have a lot of money, gets all the money in the world.
you know, he's got a lot of real estate, so I assume he's got the
Like the
money.
latest, so
I assume he's got the money.
it's only $3,000, that's just ridiculous.
Good.
the other thing, I'm driving around there, I noticed there are. Several businesses, I think the auto store, I mean, that goes right to the back. Of that lot. And there's cars in and out of there all the time. Like, I personally don't, if he. I could see that it's a problem if he's gonna end up selling that lot, which I doubt, cause he needs the parking. For the stores, but if he's gonna keep that lot as parking, I don't see a problem with the addition myself. That's just me.
Good.
I mean. My only thought when I first saw this come in and I had emailed it to Carol is there some sort of an agreement to. Keep the parking for those businesses in case that lot 17 ever get sold to someone. But I don't know if that question was passed on to you or not.
Believe there's any easement, they just. It's all voluntary at the moment, just, you know.
He owns them all. It's
You don't
Right.
know, so you
it's
don't really-
between himself, that's the thing.
So I think that's something that
Could be a
And,
could be something that
and he could have an
Yeah.
easement and it may not be deeded. You know, and then the same thing can happen here. I am not opposed to trying to make something work here. I am looking at what can possibly happen down the line. And you could wind up, and we've all said this, he can do something else with that back lot.
he could.
And then those
and
two
he's
businesses
just gonna
can
end
be
up with
sold
10
with,
spots open
because
up
they're
and
existing.
Deal with that much less traffic, I guess, and have to take out seats in the restaurant or something like that, I suppose, and.
I mean, I think if he did
Deal
something
with
with
that.
that lot that did away with the parking, that would really just. You know, he would really shoot himself in the
Right.
foot then and kill the pizza business, so I don't,
Yeah,
you know,
but
I don't think he would do
he's
anything
getting older.
irresponsible like that.
Does
That
he-
just-
Is there a family that's looking to take over the pizza business next? You know, how invested is he in keeping that?
Yeah,
As a pizza
I mean,
business
you wouldn't take
long-term,
over the
you
business
wouldn't
without
take
any
it.
pocket.
Would he,
Excuse me.
would he consider merging the lots so that,
Not at this time.
Jim, one of the things that struck me was a 24-foot shed, 4.5, I think it was.
Mhm.
For a 10 by 8 freezer. You know, I can see the need for an additional freezer, but all of a sudden, why the initial space needed, or the additional, not initial, additional space needed?
We just thought it would be a good time, you know, a good time to do it. We're doing the freezer, that's all we had to do, they had to build it.
Carol, do you have anything else?
Well, I already mentioned what my concerns were about the survey. And, you know, my concerns are the same as were expressed by the rest of you. You know, if that lot is that lot is then encroached upon, or the setback is encroached upon, then he's gonna have, you know, the parking will be an issue, but like you said, he'll be shooting himself in the foot if he decides to sell the lot behind to somebody else to raise cash or whatever. He wouldn't be in his best interest to do that. So I guess, the reason I had suggested the waiver of, is it the equitable waiver of dimensional requirements, is because it's already
Existing.
existing,
Mhm.
so that would basically okay the location, the present location of the building. But the addition is problematic only if he gets rid of that lot behind him.
I agree with Carol, and I would like to see a survey myself. I would not, whether he needs it now or later, he's gonna have to do one. And I don't believe he's putting up a building that existence for a freezer just because it's easier to put it up at the same time. I don't care what he does. But I wanna see it done right with enough room to get around it. If they can't prove there's not enough room to get around it, there's not good egress in and out of the lot, I'm not gonna stand it. To go take some space between the two buildings, put it there. So you lose a couple parking spots, I'm sorry, but I don't see it.
And I think what he said was he didn't want to do that because he wanted the cars to be able to go between the two buildings.
I mean, yeah, big parking space there, and plus, you know, there's outside chairs there. And, you know, plus they're inside, you know, that would mess up the operation of the ice cream stand, put it on the side. I mean, we did request that we get permission to put it on the back of the building, not, you know, not for you guys to re-engineer the plan.
Right, I mean, I don't think we're telling anybody that's not our function to redesign
No, I
something
understand that,
or
but
what have
I'm hearing that from one member that,
and that's the owner's,
correct,
discretion to do that, but obviously. We have certain guidelines, as you know, and the board knows to follow here. So. I think that, we have a member of the public here. Would you like, I'll open this, I'll make a motion, if somebody want to make a motion, to open the public hearing.
I'll make a motion to open public hearing.
Second.
All those in favor?
Alright,
Hi, I'm
We just-
Joanne. I have a property on
Would you
28.
state your name for the record, please?
Joanne Moser.
Okay.
I have a property on 28 Franklin Street. And it's very congested in the summer and they park on the other side of the street. And sometimes they don't look up before they pull out to drive in and you have to always be careful. My thing is, if he really wants to do this, he can just change his lot line. And then he doesn't have to do anything about it. I mean, I have a little bit of, I go with my gut. And my gut says, why don't you wanna change that lot line? If you really wanna do this to your business, then you have no plans on that. Selling that, then make it all one, and it eliminates this whole meeting. It's just my gut,
Yeah, I was wondering that.
but it is congested down there, it really is.
I think we've all eaten the ice cream, done well by, and
Oh,
the
yeah.
pizza, gotten pizza.
pizza's good.
Absolutely.
And it is, there is congestion there pulling in and out. People have to, watch the light, watch the traffic, people bombing through the traffic light, unfortunately. But, I think that, that's one solution that, again, that's the owner's decision to be
Right.
made, not our decision.
No. I mean, they park. I'm coming down Franklin Street and they park on the side of the road. So, if there's parking spaces that are all full, they start parking along the side of Franklin. Street.
Which I mean, we're saying there's no parking basically in the space where the freezer is going.
right, there's no, there aren't any parking spaces there, I mean, it's unfortunate if people don't look where they're going, but that's, that's not our fault.
What?
That's not our fault if someone parks illegally on the street.
No, but that's certainly the driveway area, that if you put the freezer into it,
There's plenty of room, there's not.
you're not,
it's not
now you're
cause
gonna
any
drive through
problems.
the parking spaces you just tried to preserve. You don't win any parking spaces no matter how you do this. So you're gonna lose parking. And
There aren't any parking
Lincoln's getting
spaces
busy.
there, I mean, no one parks behind there now.
They do in the summer. when
I
they're
don't know, of course they do.
Very busy.
In this zone, the planning board waived the dimensional requirements. The reason we're here really is for, well, my understanding was we're here for really a waiver of the survey requirement, land use permit.
No. That's not what my discussion with George.
Right.
Well, you and I had this discussion and I said, let's just put the request for the survey requirement in the application. That's why, that was my recollection of our conversation.
I still thought it had to do with getting variance.
And that what brings up my first question is, why are all of these three things lumped together?
Mhm.
And why are they in this particular order? My feeling is. This is real tight. Can we have a survey, please? And then we can go forward. And
One of them is
after
just a
hearing
housekeeping.
what he's,
One of them is just a housekeeping. I mean, you're not gonna make us take off at one corner of the building.
That's a housekeeping. The
what the survey?
the waiver of,
Oh, I realize that, but I have no problem with number one, but. Can we go forward and approach this thing in a 1, 2, 3, or we gotta do the whole ball of wax? That's what I don't wanna do. Cause I have no problem with number one, I got problems with the other
And
ones.
we don't even have to be here for number one. We're just doing
Well,
it here.
then.
Do you think, Jim, that it might be wise to go back to George and saying that the board would like to get a certain? I know you said he's gonna have to get one eventually.
Right, we don't, I mean, he doesn't know what his future plans are, so this is really just a small thing to get through the next couple of years. Yeah,
If that's the case, then I would, that would make me lean toward no, because that means to me that he might sell that lot and then that shed is gonna be too close to a house.
Well, you know, that's, you know, that whoever buys that lot, it'd be up to them to do their due diligence.
Sorry,
I mean, whoever buys it, they're gonna know what's there, it's not like.
I mean, if I knew that that lot was gonna be parking for the rest of the time that that business was in existence, I would have no problem with it, but if, I
Yeah,
mean, I know what's happening across
And
from
this-
me. And things are gonna go right up to the edges of these lots, everything. And if that lot is not merged with the other one, that can be sold.
well,
And
you know, we're here for a variance, we're not talking about merging the lots.
exactly, but it makes me lean towards not. I don't,
I understand. I
because
think
that,
what-
if that lot gets sold,
I think
It's
I
a problem.
understand what. You know, we're here for, and he's applied for the variance, and I think we should go through the 4 questions.
Hmm.
And I think we'll be done. Or 5 questions.
You wanna poll before we move?
Yeah, please, if you don't mind.
Does the board mind polling?
I don't have a problem with it.
Susan? You mind polling?
I don't mind polling.
Delia?
no, I don't mind.
Miles?
Well, I think you've heard what I've said, and I'd like to, I have no problems with waiving the dimensional requirement, number 1. When we have a survey in front of us, which would solve one of the things, then we could decide on the variance. Make the decision on the final variance, and then if he decides he wants to change things, he can. But at this point, I would say no to the variance that's been asked for this evening. So that, not having the information that we need to make it, and it sounds like he was told that he couldn't do this. And he's trying to do that this way from what Susan says.
Yeah.
Okay, that's my.
From what Carol said?
Carol, I'm sorry, yes.
He's looking at me.
I know,
I mean, it's probably you come for a variance, you're told you can't. It doesn't meet the criteria,
it doesn't meet the criteria.
so that's why we're here.
Okay,
Delia?
I would like to see a survey. Before I could make a good decision on variance.
Susan?
I guess my question would be. You know, I'm sorry that I don't know these amounts off the top of my head, but on the parking lot. Is there room to adjust the lot line between the parking lot and the ice cream delights lot? To have there be, you know, a little more buffer, I guess, you know, between the freezer or not.
I mean, I guess,
Because, I mean, if he sells the parking lot, like Jim says, he's just shooting himself in the foot. If a house goes on there, then basically those 2 front businesses are gonna have 10 spots that they need to share, or something like that. And then they're not gonna be the businesses they were, but certainly not near as busy. That doesn't really affect us.
Except then we've given a variance to somebody that doesn't have enough parking anymore.
But
we're not here
the
for-
lot on the front, but. I mean, how many seats does the ice cream shop have to have? How many parking spots does the ice cream shop have to have?
It's an interesting question.
I mean, what,
Yeah.
you'd rip out a
So
picnic table or something?
there's-
or what?
There's the 3, I don't think there's any seating inside.
No seating
There's
inside.
no
It's
seating
just,
inside.
you know, strictly takeout business.
Don't need a lot of parking spots.
I mean, it's in and out.
And
I don't
so you've
think
got
our- I
like
don't
3
think our
against the building
ordinance-
and a couple of across
But take out.
that section.
Well,
So
that,
you've got like 5 spots. As
Yeah, we have plenty of parking.
far as I'm concerned, you have enough
You know, plus,
parking
plus a lot of
on
people are
that
already
lot
there.
for
A lot
that.
of people are already there for pizza.
Yes, I mean, I certainly it's a worry because yeah, that parking lot's scary in the summer. But they have enough parking. And whoever buys the lot that we're not talking about, the neighboring lot is gonna know how close this building comes to their edge. My only thought would be, you know, so look at, see if you can do a lot line adjustment to make it a little more spacious after.
And we're trying not to reinvent the wheel for a simple addition.
I know.
The lot line adjustments between the owner when he owns it all himself are very easy.
That should be good.
There's not much money there. You know, when you're just gonna move a lot line of your own between
Yeah,
you
I
and
understand, we'd
you.
rather keep it, you know,
It
this, we've.
I
this is what
understand
we
that.
applied for, not what you think we
Understand
should do.
What's your pleasure?
I'm sorry,
What's your pleasure?
can we continue the hearing to another date?
Come back with,
I mean, you know, we'll make a decision if we're gonna withdraw it or we're gonna, you know, have you take a vote on it, I mean. We might just go to the planning board and ask, you know, ask them to waive the dimensional requirements. Do that too. You know, I mean, they did it for the Mexican restaurant and they also, you know, asked the staff to waive the survey requirement as well. So, I mean, you know,
At the Mexican restaurant? What are you
Yes.
talking-
huh? He come in a few months ago,
Doug?
The Mexican restaurant down here?
over here,
The other one.
nachos.
nachos, but to include
Let's
close
look
the
at the
porch.
minutes.
No, but they have a big, I mean, they have plenty of parking there.
We have plenty of parking. But he was doing something, I have to look at it, I have to look at the minutes. But you know, there was a specific conversation about the survey. Board asked the staff to waive it.
Okay, but it wasn't in the setbacks. Remember the addition?
So I understand that, you know, he didn't own the lot behind it either.
It was not, I mean, it wasn't in setbacks. so it
Well, I
wasn't
mean, it's
in-
debatable whether this is even in the setback based on the, you know.
But
based
that's
on
why,
the fact-
that's why I would,
It is.
that's why I would like to see this.
I mean,
first,
You have the last addition of the pizza place, which is further to the, closer to the rear line, lawfully permitted, we didn't have this kind of ask.
You know, times have changed, sorry. But,
Yeah, you're gonna squeeze the mom and pop businesses, you know, let the big developers get away with murder, that's, you know. I think that's very fair.
Talking to the ZBA.
What?
You're talking to the planning board or you're talking to the
We're talking to
ZBA?
the CBA.
We haven't done any variances on any big hotels or
I don't
anything.
no.
They don't need them.
In fact,
go to you.
the planning board granted it in.
and you say that you can go back to the planning board and get a waiver,
Well, I can ask them. I don't know.
dimensional,
Yes,
so why come here if you didn't need it?
well, because I thought we thought we were applying for waiver of the survey requirement for the land use permit.
That's not our job.
And Carol told.
Well, no, that's,
Yeah, right
excuse me,
from-
we can apply, we can appeal an administrative decision by the staff to the ZBA, so yes, you can appeal, I can appeal that.
You're here to work with us or work against us, I don't understand this. You're talking about appeals already, we're saying we'd like to see
I'm
a
appealing the
survey.
I thought that we were appealing the decision of the staff of the requirement for a survey for the land use permit, that's what I thought the survey. That's why I thought we were here for the survey.
And would we normally grant that? No.
No.
No. So I don't
We don't-
understand, we're here to deal with the setback problem, correct?
And the survey. Well, it's not,
We just-
I mean, there's some miscommunication here somewhere.
Okay, well. don't know how you want to proceed, Jack.
I mean, we have, you know, an application that's, you know, that's requesting.
A survey.
The survey. And the town, you know. It's not, I'm trying to read exactly what it was that I saw that I marked out. Yep, that he was appealing the application for the variance dimensional chart. And that, you know, talking about the addition and
I have no problem with number one.
Okay, see, I'm same thing here.
I have
If
no
we look
problem
at
with
these as
number
1, 2, and 3.
Yep.
Number 1, I have no problem.
No.
Right.
2 and 3, I have problems with.
Yeah.
Until I have 3, I can't decide on 2. That's exactly where I stand. So that being in light, I would say no to the variance as written. If he wants to withdraw it at this point, come back with something else, knowing that we want to see a survey. And talk to George. And he can make a decision, fine, I'll just go the way I'm going, I don't need it now, I want to do this, I don't.
I would request that we continue the hearing for a month, that way we wouldn't have to renotice all the abutters.
Oh, yeah, if we can do that to save money, I'm all up for that, yeah.
Why didn't they
Oh,
put
yeah.
the money?
Don't want to spend any money if we don't have to.
I would make a motion to continue to next month. And let the applicant think about whether he would. The fact that we feel that we wouldn't waive the survey.
motion on the table.
And I'd like to add to that, and the variance itself for the shed. In other words, we'll take them both, yes,
Yeah, we look
Numbers
at
2
that,
and 3.
correct, number 2 and 3,
Yeah.
that might be the easiest way to say it.
but I think we can do number one tonight. But if you wanted to, I'll just vote them
I
all.
mean, I
at the
don't
same
see a
time.
need to.
Okay.
Okay.
We,
Right, because if we're gonna do one, we're gonna do all 3. That's when I read it, I said, let's, if one goes, they all go. You know, and that was my feeling, is they shouldn't have been separated out. Or the survey should have been in hand when they made the application, either,
I
anyway.
mean, you know, if we're asking for a
Yeah, so
waiver,
if you're asking for a
we're
waiver.
not gonna go through it if we're asking
Until
for a
you,
waiver.
you're right, exactly.
Again,
He wouldn't do the survey if he was asking for a waiver, not to not have to do it.
The waiver is for the existing building.
That's number 1.
Yeah.
That's what I see.
But we don't even need to do that because,
Right. You
I
don't-
mean.
Okay.
We're just doing it for housekeeping, and, you know.
That's right. That can be done anytime.
Right, so a motion was made and seconded with an amendment to continue the hearing for a month. And the applicant is agreeable to that if it passes.
Let me go get the calendar, because it has to be. a
Yeah,
date
a
certain.
date certain.
Yeah. I don't think Cal can be here on the 20th of March, like.
Yeah, it would be. One option, might be to, continue it to April 3rd, which would be, because I'm gonna be gone the last 2 weeks in March. So the 20th and the 27th would be out, but April 3rd, we could do, April 17th, we could do. We have to have it on a day that's not the planning board meeting.
I won't be here on the 17th.
I don't think I'll be here on 17.
So what about the 3rd?
Has he ordered the freezer yet, Jim? Do you know?
I'm sorry,
Has he ordered the freezer?
I
yet?
don't know,
It's not on site,
no, it's not on the site now,
because
Does April 3rd work for you?
right?
April 3rd.
If, I mean, it works for me if it works for you, I mean,
I don't know where I'll be, but I'll be hopefully be able to attend by Zoom. So where I'll be,
Okay, we just have to have 3 human beings in the room.
you know, I could be in a hospital or I could be on an island, so.
I hope
It
you're
could
on
be
the
a
island.
flip
You're on the
flop. Well, I gotta be in the
And then-
hospital too, so I don't know where it's gonna happen when, but, you know. Yeah, so,
So
Yeah,
we'll
I'd rather
try
see the
April
palm
3rd
trees
then,
in
Carol?
the background.
Jim, is that okay with you?
it's okay with me, you know, I'll make it work, you guys are taking time out of your schedules to be here,
thanks,
so.
we appreciate it.
Jim, there was a request. I think. There was a request by Joanne, I think you had requested a picture of the freezer.
No, it was just a picture of the building that I got. I just wanted the dimensions.
Okay,
Yeah.
Yeah,
It wasn't Jane, it was more. How it was gonna lay out in the back parking lot.
okay, and you're satisfied with what you received?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, how would you feel if we just did a smaller addition? Would that make a difference? I mean, I think the building will look better if we just do it along the whole back of it.
I don't know. Yeah, I think that's just a little hard to answer without seeing exactly what's gonna be left for room. I'd like to soon get as much of it as you can. If there isn't a way to get around the building, maybe he should start thinking of some, just giving egresses in and out, just to himself on paper, so when he goes to sell it, he can. I mean, I know that's not what we're here to decide,
I mean, you know,
but I don't wanna use it as a
Make
reason.
due diligence when if he ever goes to sell it, I mean, I don't.
The man's gonna die, none of us are getting out of this alive. Someone is gonna take
He
it
has,
over.
he has heirs that are
Heirs.
much into the pizza business.
And I've seen more children destroy things than what people set up in 30 years, because they just, you know, we can't control that, I understand that.
You know, I mean, whatever the kids do, you know.
I'm trying to give
grow
you
up
some
dead,
guidance if I
yeah.
can, so.
Jim, we're on this one where it's like handwritten in freezer. This is the current version, do you know? Can you see this?
Yeah, that's the one that George drew.
Alright, so that's like where the freezer now is.
No, there is
No,
no.
there isn't a freezer there now.
No,
So that was the original plan, is to only stick it on that side,
On the backside.
but like only on half the building.
Right.
And then later on, it became this one where it went across the whole building.
Right, we just thought it looked so.
Now you're questioning, would it go better with the hand drawn first?
Right.
Basically, where you're not as deep into the setback. Because you're not going into.
Well,
that
it's
part
still
that-
in the, it's still in the depth,
Yeah, but not as bad because the
Exactly.
building is kind of tilted to the lot line.
And one of the first things I asked tonight, when I was asking about what the building was gonna be, it was gonna truly be. In other words, we're gonna put a box 8x10 here on the ground, I'm gonna put a shed roof over it and 4 posts.
Yeah.
Which to me says, okay, you didn't put a building because you didn't put the sidewalls up. You put up a freezer that is, you can pick it up and move it, it comes in panel, you know? And
so I mean, what you're saying is.
I'm just
To
saying,
be here. Is that what you're suggesting?
when you're building a whole building
Yeah.
around it, now you've gone into the setback. When you say, hey, I wanna put the freezer right here and I'm just gonna put a shed roof over it to keep the rain out of the compressor that's on the roof. And the truck can drive up here and put stuff into it. And if someone ever wants to do something, they can actually take that freezer off. I mean. I'm just trying to think of a way for you to get what you want. And. Be able to work. Within, if it's not a permanent structure.
Mhm.
You set,
Well, then it's an accessory buildings.
it's not an accessory building, it's a freezer,
Well, I mean-
freestanding.
Hmm.
With a roof on it, it just has a projector with 4 posts.
And it's,
I'm just telling you, I think that's a different way too. Because I'm sitting there going, you're putting an addition onto the building is what you're doing. You're changing the roof line, you're doing this, you're coming up an extra 14 feet. Of indoor storage space may be needed too, and I understand that if it's needed, then,
I mean, it's just a cheap way to do it. We'll have the crew there.
I think long range,
Obviously.
I'm sorry, I think long range.
Yeah, the
That's
problem is,
kind of
it's
what
not an ice cream store and somebody's running a sit-down restaurant there, and there's an apartment building built on the lot that he sells, then what have we created on that corner?
I mean, that'll all be addressed in the site plan review process. So we build an apartment building, look at the traffic
Right,
and all that stuff. So I mean,
because
But-
when it sits before the planning board trying to turn that into a sit-down restaurant, that's change of use, you're gonna look at the parking and be like, well, you can have like 5 tables.
Right,
so-
And then they could decide if they wanna put a sit-down restaurant in there.
Jim, has any, my own edification, has any drawings been done as to, actual outline of the building as far as how it's
foundation,
gonna fit in there, the foundation, as Miles says, it's gonna be post or, type of roof or things like
we
that?
haven't really gotten that far.
Okay. I mean, even if we could get some type of a sketch, that might help, I don't care whether it's architecturally drawn or George does it or you do it. But, I'd just like to see it visually, how it's gonna look on the land, where it's gonna be seated, and then look at setbacks, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, when we're trying, just like I said, we're trying to keep it simple.
Yeah, well, that's simple. I mean, I can sketch it out for you if you want, but you tell me. But anyways, get a ruler and go from there.
But basically, you're asking if this hand-drawn version would be more amenable. You have the picture?
Right, did you make a motion to continue to the 3rd? Did you vote on that?
Somebody wanna make a motion?
I think it was a motion.
There was a motion, I'll second the motion to continue the meeting for until April 3rd, Carol, is that what we came up with?
Wednesday, April 3rd.
Let's say April 3rd,
Second by Miles, all those in favor?
alright,
All right, thank you, folks.
Thank you,
thanks, Jim.
Carol, is there any other business to come before the board?
No, I get the minutes, which. And, I have the 2 notices if you could sign those, if you would
You
mind.
want those signed even though the minutes haven't been approved?
Yeah, cause I mean.
do you want us to
I-
take a minute to look through the minutes? I just didn't have a chance.
I consider, because I was at that meeting, I came in late, I was the one that.
Just,
Now we all asked where your ice cream, with our ice cream.
I got like halfway through, that's what-
Oh, I just did. Um,
You know what I'm saying? If I sign this and these weren't approved,
well, it doesn't matter, cause it's not like there's anything else. I'm supposed to do that in 5 days, even if the minutes aren't done.
oh, okay.
And usually I try to wait for the minutes because it just makes much more sense to do it that way. But we've had trouble getting somebody to do the minutes, and now, Carol's doing them, and he has 4 jobs, that's her 4th job. And so she's behind on the planning board. The planning board's been meeting for 5.5 hours.
Right.
To the last meeting, and a couple meetings before that were like 5.5 hours. And it's, it's just too much. And we don't have anybody else backup person to do.
Did you have something that you wanted to say in this number 5 under other business? Regarding ZBA members,
No.
alternates, zoning board staff?
No, I originally was gonna, after town meeting, the next meeting that we have after that, I'll have to look at the rules and regulations again, remember, and then appoint a chair and a vice chair, so. I'll put that on the agenda for the next, that April 3rd meeting.
Who's up beside myself for ZBA this?
Oh my God, I can't remember. The problem is that, people leave and some are appointed because they didn't run when they should have run. I can't keep track of them. It's a struggle every year. I think, I don't know if she's got them on the board yet or not. She might not.
I know I'm up and I applied. I put-
Oh,
Should be in the town report, but that's not done yet.
It's not going.
What's
I'm not on the
for this?
Yeah, who has to? run?
I'm running, right? I had to sign something.
If you had to sign something, then you.
I'm running, yeah.
So did you and I, then.
You and I.
There's 2 people.
Who else? Anybody running against us?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
I think they look good to me, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I'd like to have a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting.
Yeah, I mean, I had to look at the first half.
I was here for the meeting. I didn't see any issues so far, so I will approve the meeting.
Well,
I did spell slab wrong, which I finally caught. The slap, I kept writing slap.
So,
We're in the mood, huh?
Fielder made a motion to approve the minutes as distributed. Do I hear a second?
second,
All those in favor?
I,
Opposed? Unanimous. Abstentions?
No,
Unanimous. Thank you.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Julie
I'll
has made a
second that.
motion to adjourn.
second,
All those in favor?
I.
Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you.
all right.
Amen.
Go back in.